49 people gathered on the small balcony above the squash court on the afternoon of December 2, 1942. In the words of Richard Rhodes, the experimental reactor below looked like an ominous black beehive in a bright box. Here are 3 eyewitness accounts to the event that marked the beginning of the atomic age. You'll hear from Crawford Greenwald, Herbert Anderson, and Arthur Holly Compton.
The whole atmosphere there was one of calmly observing an experiment being made. To be sure, there was a suicide squad that you could see on the other end of the platform, ready to pour in if it didn't work, but it became obvious very quickly that it was going to be controlled.
He made an initial test of the activity, then called for withdrawal of the control rod, and made another measurement of the radioactivity generated. And then with a slide rule, he calculated what would be the effect if he took the rod out somewhat more. Announced this. He said, now you look at this and it will rise this high. And they pulled out the rod and it went that high, and the counters clicked a little more, and kept this up a number of times, each time being right about it.
We entered the balcony at one end of the room. On the balcony, a dozen scientists were watching the instruments and handling the controls. Across the room was a large cubical pile of graphite and uranium blocks in which we hoped the atomic chain reaction would develop. Inserted into openings in this pile of blocks were control and safety rods. After a few preliminary tests, Fermi gave the order to withdraw the control rod another foot. We knew that that was going to be the real test. The Geiger counters registering the neutrons from the reactor began to click faster and faster until their sound became a rattle. The reaction grew until there might be danger from the radiation up on the platform where we were standing. Throw in the safety rods, came Fermi's order, and you could see the pointer moved right back to zero. The rattle of the counters fell to a slow series of clicks. For the first time, atomic power had been released. It had been controlled and stopped. One of the things that I shall not forget is the expressions on the faces of some of the men. There was Fermi's face. One saw in him no sign of elation. The experiment had worked just as he had expected, and that was that. Cool and collected, Fermi's face was that of a competent man of action, busily engaged on the one important job.